Welcome back to Forex Focus, brought to you by IG. A wild start to the week in Forex markets on the heels of Mexico's largest election in its 200-year history. We saw the Mexican peso tumble 4% against the US dollar this morning alone. We'll take a look at the price action, the election results, and some potential outlooks for this Mexican peso. This morning we had the results come in that Mexico elected its first female president in Claudia Sheinbaum, successor to the incumbent president AMLO, pictured here on the right. But that wasn't the surprising news per se. We saw in preliminary polls that Claudia Sheinbaum was likely to win. What we didn't know was that the Morena party will likely get a supermajority in Congress as well, which paves a whole new array of outcomes for this administration, as it's possible they get a lot more accomplished than previously thought. Investors in the peso quickly fled the peso in favor of the US dollar as the pair appreciated 4% this morning alone, starting around that 3 a.m. Eastern when it was conceded, the presidency was conceded by Galvez, and on a rolling appreciation as those results in the congressional elections came in as well, now trading above 17.70, meaning that $1 US can get you over 17 and a half Mexican pesos. Just some crazy price action so far. And if you look at the left of the graph here, there wasn't much volatility coming on Friday or on Sunday's market open for Forex markets ahead of the election, only off of these results. And now let's think about where the Mexican peso can go from here. Right now, what it's looking like is that investors, outside investors particularly, are spooked by perhaps some added volatility and lack of stability in favor of the US dollar, as now we don't have as clear a picture of just what this administration will accomplish. Perhaps new legislation will radically change not only the political landscape, but a lot of the economical landscapes as well. Here on the right, we pulled up the US imports by country just to show you the recent trend. Last year, Mexico eclipsing China as the largest country by imports for the US, as this trend of nearshoring for US companies has picked up a lot of ground, and the peso has benefited, hitting a nine-year high in April against the US dollar, now obviously reverting a lot lower. But this recent trend has seen a lot more companies invest in Mexico, and now unsure of where this administration will take, how they will treat a lot of these foreign investments. And so that's where a lot of this volatility could be coming from and could continue if investors are still worried by the prospects of what could happen. On the contrary, we have seen a lot of carry strength in this Mexican peso that could provide some support for the currency demand. Right now, we're looking at the overnight interest rates for the US and for Mexico. Mexico nearly 5% higher, which is causing a theoretical profit overnight by holding Mexican peso and selling the US dollar. So this kind of arbitrage opportunity, if you will, all things equal, has provided some demand for the Mexican peso in recent months, depending on how much lower the US takes their interest rates and how much Mexico takes down their interest rates. This demand could continue and support the Mexican peso going forward, regardless of the political landscape. Taking a look at last election cycle, kind of the before and after, we have kind of a different story. We had the peso weaken ahead of the election. As you're seeing, in July 1 was that 2018 election, and we saw the peso strengthen off of the news there and for the subsequent months. But then a funny trend happened where by the time that AMLO assumed office in December, the peso was trading at about the same place that it was against the US dollar when he was elected. And so obviously a lot more factors at play over this nearly 6 month time period. But we could see something similar this cycle where we have an outsized move at the onset, but as things kind of shake out and investors get a clearer sense of how things will play out with new Congress, with a new president, we could end up right where we were. Conversely, it could only increase volatility going forward, and we could be somewhere completely different. We'll see. But historical context for kind of an overreaction and then a settling down where we landed, where we started the election. And then lastly, wanted to cover just showing here on the left versus the right, that red is the previous administration and the right is AMLO's administration. So we did see over this period of 6 years, we saw an appreciation in the Mexican peso under the Morena party's control. And so if you're thinking that their leadership has been good for the peso over the past years, perhaps that could continue. But at the same time, that was not during, while they had complete control of the government. So we'll see perhaps that getting all those legislations passed through could be detrimental to the peso. We'll see where the pair goes from here. Historical context for the upside and the downside as we anticipate where this currency pair will settle. Thanks for watching.